I'm always surprised by how many people really don't understand wood and how wood moves and where its strengths and weaknesses. And if you don't understand those things, you're not able to really be a good, solid woodworker. So the first thing you want to know is what happens when you cut up a tree. And this is my section of a tree here. And I find it interesting. Trees, if you look at them in the forest, they grow up straight and tall, they get sick, they die, or the wind comes, they fall over. And the bottom part of the tree lays on the ground and is damp, and then the upper part of the tree, the sun shines on it and it dries out, so usually they're going to crack at the top. And then when it rains, rain goes in there and dirt goes in there, and and the bugs start eating this, and the whole thing is destroyed mostly by moisture. And so when we want to preserve the wood for our use, we have to remove the moisture. The bugs don't like to eat dry wood. And dry wood doesn't rot very much, so we remove the moisture from it, and we're able to then preserve the wood for a longer period of time so that it doesn't destroy itself, because that's what it wants to do once it dies, is rot and go back into the soil. So keeping the wood dry is the easiest way to do that, and usually once you're made into a piece of furniture, it's kept in an environment that will do that. However, we can't keep the wood in a completely dry environment. The humidity changes, and you don't have that much control on your humidity. So if you have a completely humidity controlled home, you could stabilize your wood and treat it as a kind of a static thing. But actually it's not. It moves around, and it moves around differently in different directions according to its orientation of how it came out of the log. So when I made this sample, I made it so that you could see where these pieces are sawn right out of a section right above this, and they were all cut to the dimensions that are on them so that I could see what happens to the piece of wood as it dries out. And that gives you a good idea of what the wood's going to do when you build it into a piece of furniture. So here's a piece of wood that was cut 5 inches long, and it was turned to a diameter of 2 1/8 inches, completely round. And this was really wet wood. This was totally green. When this piece of wood dried out, it's still 5 inches long. It didn't change in length at all. But if I checked the diameter, if I check it this way, when the grain is running this way right now, if I check it this way, you'll see that's 2 1/8 inches. So it's changed very little in the diameter that way, but when I rotate it this way, you can see that it's lost almost 1/8 of an inch in thickness. So the wood has shrunk that way quite a bit. This piece will also shrink and swell across the grain this way, but on a 2-inch piece you don't notice it so much. This piece here, again, cut off at 5 inches long. It still measures 5 inches. And it was made to be 1 3/8 thick, and here it's 1 5/16. So it's lost a 1/16 in thickness, and it was 5 inches across this way, and you'll see it's only lost a 1/16 that way too. So again, it's shrinking more across the grain than it is this way. So this is the kind of knowledge you need when you're building a piece of furniture to compare like a quarter sawn piece with a plain sawn piece, or what happens to a square piece, so that you know when the wood moves what it's going to do, and you can think ahead of it a little bit.